to the National Cancer Institution in 2017, about 1,500 children and adolescents ages 0 to 19 were diagnosed with cancer. In 2017, the United States spent $147 billion on research. However, 1,800 patients still died of their disease. When I was about 13, I found out my father was diagnosed with cancer. It was stage 3 thyroid cancer. It was a very scary time for our family. When I was informed this, I really didn't understand what it meant. I didn't understand what cancer was. I just knew it was bad. So I went on I don't want to say a journey of sorts to figure out what cancer was. And this has led me to really want to understand it more, and I've learned a lot. About a year ago, they actually found a growth on my thyroid. They thought it was cancer. After several months of testing, I was informed that it was a benign tumor, which means that the cancer does not spread through my body and it can exist as long as it's not putting pressure on anything around it. So as of now, I don't have any problems, but there's a possibility in the future that it could happen. So it's really scary, and I find it really interesting how it works. And I've really thought it interesting how we can't cause it. So today I'm going to explain how cancer works and why it's so hard to cure and what actions are being taken. One, who can get cancer? Anyone can get cancer. There are several famous people that you probably know of that have cancer. Olivia Newton, Robin Williams, and Lance Armstrong all had cancer. It's a very common disease, and it's not something that just it happens every once in a while. So what causes it to happen? Most of the time it's genetics. So whenever you have a long history of family members who have cancer, then you have a possibility of getting it yourself. Just because cancer is in your genes, which is the basic level of inheritance. When you are being formed in your mom's stomach, it's your genes that are being formed by your parents, which is long strands of DNA called chromosomes. So what are some things that, not necessarily genetics that cause it, but other things that cause it, such as smoking and drinking? Everyone knows that. They tell on the side of smoking packets, this may cause cancer. There's also diet and exercise. If you do not have a good diet, if you don't exercise a lot, you're overweight, your risk of cancer can go up. Another thing is infections. If you have an infection that goes untreated for a long time, it can affect the cells around it, and that can cause your risk of cancer to go up. What do we know about cancer? How does it work? Cancer occurs when some of the body's cells divide without stopping, and they add pressure to a lot of the surrounding tissues. It can spread into surrounding tissues. Cancer can start anywhere in the human body, which is made up of trillion cells. You have trillions and trillions of cells in your body, so it can happen anywhere. It just happens in your cells. It's when human cells, so on a normal basis, they divide and they form. When you get a cut, you get red blood cells that form, or skin tissue forms over and it heals. Well, when you have cancer, your cells don't die, and they reform when they're not supposed to. So that causes growths in your body, which can be a huge problem. So then cancer also can affect like cells around it, especially when there's things like leukemia, which happen in your blood. Even if they're benign, they can cause pressure on other cells around it, and that, like brain tumors, for example, it can cause pressure on your brain, and that can cause a lot of issues and needs to be removed. For me, I have a benign tumor. It's on my thyroid right here, and it's not causing pressure on anything. It's just chilling out. So I don't have to get it removed. So it just depends on person to person. The scary things are malignant tumors. So those are the ones that spread through your body. Malignant tumors, they can go through the bloodstream. They can just spread around your body. My father's cancer, he had thyroid, and it ended up moving into his lower side. For whatever reason, we don't know how that happened, but it just moves. Another thing, that cancer cells are not specialized like normal cells are. So your normal cells, you have skin cells, you have white blood cells, you have eyelash cells, you have tongue cells. Cancer cells don't have a specific idea. They just grow, and that can cause issues because it's just random cells. It causes your bodily functions to get off. So what makes cancer so hard to cure? Cancer is a wide term used for a lot of diseases. Cancer is not just one thing. There are hundreds of different types of cancer. Cancer is also caused by different things. There's not one strategy that could prevent them. Like I said, it could be genes, which you can't change your genes. Or there are some things like smoking and drinking, obviously you can prevent. And there's also different cancers that are react to treatment different. Just like there's things like radiation, which had my father had. There's things like chemo that everyone's really heard of that can kill cancer. So cancer can be cured by different things in a sort of way. So it can be helped, but it's not just one specific thing that will help all types of cancer. It's also affects like the lifestyle of the patient. So some patients are fit and they have cancer. Some patients are fat and they have cancer. Some patients, have had they're just different lifestyles that cause different types of cancer that might be feeding into the tumor, such as drug addictions, things like that. So different physiology of the people. So there are organizations in place to help people with cancer, though. There's a cancer financial assistant, which helps people pay for cancer. Cancer treatments are expensive. Cancer doctors are expensive. People who have cancer and can't afford to get treatments die, and that's the sad truth. So there are groups of people who can stop this from happening, or at least help stop this from happening. There's also things like Make-A-Wish Foundation, which is a group that gives children with cancer the opportunity to make a long life dream come true. A lot of kids, go to Disney World. You hear things about that. And there's also different groups like the leukemia cancer, or there's a thyroid cancer group. So there's different things for specific people that they can go and get help that way. And what is being done to cure cancer? What research is being done? There's a lot of research being done. Things like there's research being done with stem cells, see how stem cells affect your body. Mitosis is a huge, huge thing about it. So there's a ton of research going into that. Mitosis is the process in which your body produces cells. So whenever you get cancer, that process completely breaks down and there's no longer any order. So they're trying to figure out how to get that order back in order to cure cancer. There are also things like I mentioned earlier. There's chemotherapy, there's radiation, there's things like surgery where they can just remove the cancer, immunotherapy, target therapy, hormone therapy. There's a lot of different things and different options for people with cancer to go to, but there's not one definite one that will work for all types of cancer. It depends on cancer to cancer. And some cancers are incurable. It's just the sad truth. In conclusion, anybody has the possibility of getting cancer. It happens every day. People get diagnosed, and it's a scary thing for families. In all types of cancer, it's just the cells' bodies breaking down, and the mitosis and division is out of control. The reason cancer cells are so hard to cure is just because there's so many forms of it. There's not one type of cancer. There must be a cure. Obviously, we are put on this earth for a purpose, and sometimes we just need to figure out what that is. So someday, hopefully, we can cure cancer. And we need to continue to try to understand this illness so that we can save lives that are being lost every single day. I hope that one day my father will be able to be declared cancer-free. I hope that one day I won't have to worry about my benign tumor becoming cancerous. So hopefully we can learn more and research more, and that will help us find a cure.